What is up, everybody? Mark on the mic here. We have another gun highlight for you. Across from me, we've got Erik Barber, a.k.a. Slingin Rik, and then oftentimes we just call you Rick. And what do we have here today, Erik? What's going on?
Oh, Mark, did you hear that?
What is it talking?
I think it just growled. Its stomach growled.
It's
hungry.
It's hungry. It's hungry. Now, I'm going to say, you say what we got here, and then I'm going to follow with a couple things.
Yeah, so on the table here, we got if you're watching along on YouTube, I got my Remington 870 Express circa 2001, topped with a Spark Solar Red Dot, a very unique cantilever mount, and a Carlson's heavyweight, Carlson's choke tube designed for heavyweight shot. I don't shoot heavyweight shot out of it, but the choke shoots what I shoot out of it really good.
That is the important thing. I shoot heavy shot because it's more expensive and therefore better.
Yes, exactly.
So, but that's me thinking. Actually, and I have some amazing success with it.
It is good. It is good.
This isn't new in box.
Negative. Very much used.
Yes. I'm not sure it has any finish left anywhere, actually.
Nope, it doesn't. So this was my, not my first shotgun. My dad got me a Rossi 410 for my first shotgun like 2 years before I could hunt. But this was my first hunting shotgun. So I got this for my 12th birthday. My dad went and picked it out. We picked it out together at like Farm and Fleet Farm, and shot it the next day on my birthday. We went and shot trap over at a local gun club, and put
straight into it.
I think I probably put probably 200 rounds through it that day. Like, I was just addicted to it.
Wow, that's awesome.
So yeah, and now obviously with given the season, we're sitting here March 15th. So before you know it, we'll be chasing turkeys. So it's set up for turkey hunting, and this is still to this day like any gobbler I've ever shot with a gun is come at the hand of this thing. So
that is amazing. I mean, since I've known you, this is the only gun that I've ever seen you use. But I actually thought you put this mount on here when you started running a red dot for turkey hunting. Yeah. I guess I just kind of assumed two and two together, at least for me, because I've never seen a mount like that used, like essentially outside of turkey hunting. But you've had that mount on there for a long time for a different species.
Yeah. So when I was 12 years old, that first year of me gun deer hunting, we hunted in a zone in Wisconsin that limited your firearm restriction to a shotgun. So back at that time, a lot of like the central, I would say like central, all the way down through the southern part of the state was shotgun only. Really, you didn't get into the rifle counties until you got north of, I'm blanking on the highway. Like north of, for Wisconsin folks, north of like Shawano County. Mm-hmm. Once you got north of there, we hunted in Shawano. So I know Shawano was definitely shotgun, and that's where we were hunting. So that's why I use this. But anyways,
here's what I'll say. I'm aware of this time period where like counties were shotgun only. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
When I moved here in, I don't know, when did I move here? I guess 14 years ago, something like that. That was eliminated. Or at least it was like on the verge, or
it was on its way out.
Wherever I hunted, I didn't have to ever use a shotgun, and anyway.
Yeah.
I don't care for that personally.
Yeah, no, I agree. I remember shooting. So the backstory on that mount is it was the week before Wisconsin gun deer season, and in true fashion, I waited until that time. My dad waited until that time. I had no means of transportation. I'm 12 years old. My dad waited until that time for me to sight.
Yeah, point the finger.
Sight in my my shotgun, and I have it's like a 16 or 18 inch rifled slug barrel with open sights on, and that's what I was getting dialed in.
So you've got two barrels for this.
Yeah.
Thing.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll get into this. The Remington 870. I've always, as a kid, thought it was the only gun you ever needed. And I actually kind of stand by that.
You're not wrong.
Yeah. You want to shoot a muskox? Well, put on the slug barrel. Dunzo, how's 250 grains of fury feel? Get back to us.
Actually, you won't. You're dead.
Yeah. But anyways, so spent the It was like a Tuesday night, and we went to the local gun club. Shout out to Daniel Boone Gun Club in Richfield, Wisconsin. And,
if you're listening.
Yeah, and went and sighted in my shotgun there, and came back home. And then it was like the Thursday or Friday before opening weekend. I took it out of the case, or we were packing up ready to go up north, and grabbed the gun, and it was, my dad had a Bushnell 1 3/4 to 4 power scope on it, on top of this little cantilever mount. So I've always had that cantilever mount. I've since moved that scope over to a 22 was like another early gun, and it's got a lot of sentimental value. So still shoot that thing, but anyways, that freed up any optic on top of this mount. And when I started working here, just about 5 years ago, the first spring I didn't run a red dot. I was actually very hesitant about running a red dot, and then started learning more. I mean, I was hesitant because I didn't know anything about red dots. I had literally never shot a red dot until working here 5 years ago, and started to learn more about them. And then that would have been my second year here, I put a Crossfire red dot on top of this thing, ran that, and then when we were testing out the new Spark Solars, this is actually a pre-launch sample of the Spark Solar. Still running, still never changed the battery. I mean, that thing has been beat up and it's rocking. So
that's awesome.
But yeah, that is the backstory on that mount. So you can still find that mount, not that exact mount, but you can go on like Amazon. That's how I've always found them. I'm sure you can find them at your local gun dealer. But I always just go on Amazon and type in Remington 870 saddle mount, and there's a variety of mounts available. The 870 is such a popular shotgun platform that there's more tactical applications than this. There's very similar applications to that. So any saddle mount will help you get an optic on top of the 870 because it's not drilled and tapped.
Right. Now, what's interesting here, though, is you almost have like a peek under sight system. I mean, you could still use that front bead, I guess, if you wanted to.
Oh, absolutely. And that's that's a good point. There is a little bit of daylight. There's a fair amount of daylight. I mean, very usable amount of open space beneath the rail, so you can actually still use the bead if for whatever reason your dot goes down, whatever, you could still hunt it and be totally fine.
So when you were turkey hunting before you got the dot, then you would pull that saddle off then?
Yeah. I've had that dot off, or I've had that saddle. It would have been 2019. Yeah, when I put that on there for the first time since I had it in like 01, 02, whenever that was, many years ago when I hunted it for the first time. But yeah, the nice thing with that is you pop these pins in the receiver out, you replace it with the pins that go into that spot, and just with the simple, I mean, genuinely takes less than a minute to swap that out, and you can go from shooting turkeys in the morning to shooting, trap and skeet in the evening, or hunting birds, whatever.
That sounds lovely.
Yeah, so it's super easy.
What would you say? Okay, personal question.
Yeah.
What would you say the body count is on this thing?
Oh man, I should have looked at the slate call before we came in here. If I had to just guess, it's probably around 50. Oh my God. I've had a couple really good years of turkey hunting.
Had a couple good runs there.
But yeah, I mean, every bird I've ever shot has been with this gun, and it's got so much sentimental value to me that I can't not hunt with it.
Well, and so here's one thing I love about you, Rick. We've hunted turkeys together a handful of times.
Yep.
And I recall one, and so and you also hunt, you're a seasoned turkey vet. And you hunt turkeys more and take it more seriously than just about anybody I know. Like when it's turkey season, like it's on from start to finish, multiple states. How many tags you got, buddy?
Yeah.
We were hunting together one particular instance, and we had a bird come in pretty tight, and there was like a screen of brush, like preventing a shot. Now, I'll say this, like I was pumped up. I was very excited because I get jacked out of my mind.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
I've never heard somebody breathe so heavy. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, the bird is going to like spook because, I mean, I was like 5 feet away from you and I was like, dude, this guy is out of his mind. And then we ended up, unfortunately, we didn't get the bird just like moved off. I'm not going to say that you didn't spook it with your heavy breathing.
Yes.
I don't think that's what happened. Yeah. But anyway, I love that you still like, I mean, I think everybody who hunts turkeys, man, you get jacked up when you got a bird coming, but like
next level excitement.
I was like, man, this guy's going to have to keep it together. Which you obviously do because a lot of turkeys fall down at your hand.
That one was very close. I remember that.
I mean,
bird.
That was like 5 feet.
I mean, yeah, we're standing here in the podcast studio. He was legitimately from the distance of like us to these cameras away.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Could see his hooks. Thought he was going to attack.
That's why you were worried for your safety.
I was frightened.
You bring up we're getting jacked for turkey season right now. We were looking through different, like you've got your FHF call harness, which actually I got one of those this year, and so like I was checking out how you have it configured because I know you've futzed with it quite a bit, and so we're getting jacked about that. You bought a new shotgun this year.
I did,
which is a very nice shotgun. You brought it in. It points very nicely, and then you're just like, yeah, I don't think I'm going to use that this year.
So the background there is I bought a Franke Affinity 3, phenomenal gun. It's much lighter than the 870 here. My wife, Chantel, she likes the turkey hunt too. Mm-hmm. And she's been using a 410 now for the past 2 years, which is a great gun. She's killed a bird with it last year. I mean, that thing's like 5 pounds maybe. Like it's super light.
It's light. It does... Like I've got a Benelli M2 that I really like, but when I picked up, I was like, I sure like this too.
Yeah. The problem with the 410 isn't really that. There's no issue with the 410. It's that when we go and do some sort of other type of hunting, whether we go pheasant hunting or if she wants to shoot, sporting clays, the 410 isn't the solution there. So I was kind of in the market. This thing, we'll get into it. This thing is getting old. It's starting to really show its wear. So I do need another shotgun. So I did get that Franke with kind of the intent that Chantel will use it. Mm-hmm. I'm going to be very careful with my 870 here. Like as you actually, you kind of pointed out that the finish is all off it. I mean, as you look at it, even like the stock has a little bit of wiggle out there.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
I wonder if you can tighten that up.
So if anybody is listening to that, please let me know if you can tighten up the rear stock on these 870s. It's got a little bit of play there.
Little play in there.
I am adamantly opposed, and I'm glad we're here now. I'm adamantly opposed. I will not do it. I will not replace the stock. To replace the stock, to replace the wood on this gun would be like taking a Van Gogh painting and taking off all the ink, all the paint, and you're left with a blank canvas. That is no longer art. The art in this gun is in all the nicks in the stock, the wood, the finish on the foregrip. There's a dent here in the vent rib when my buddy's dad shut it inside of a Chevy Astro van in 2004, 2005. One of my first turkey hunts ever. It got shut in the back of a Chevy Astro van. So
she's still kicking.
I say all of that to say that this on the surface you see a Remington 870 wood stock. You've seen a million of them. This thing is loaded with personality, and that's where the value is to me. So
no, I dig it. Yeah, hopefully.
If someone knows, let us know. Comment below. Reach out. Yeah, I'm curious.
You don't want to, like you said, you don't want to replace it, but I have to think there's.
And it's still functional.
There's a way.
It is still functional. Like
maybe it's like actually extra ergonomic. Like it just like molds into you.
Yeah, it helps you really shoot around the tree when the stock has that flex built into it. So, but yeah, obviously, I mean, all those like nicks and scratches and scars on this gun have coming up on 20 years of hunting it.
Yeah.
And I mean, this thing spent probably about like 10 minutes in the bottom of a marsh in Stuttgart, Arkansas a couple of years back.
Did you have to go swimming for it?
Yeah, I had to dump the waders and go down and get it. So
that is awesome.
But yeah, I mean that is why it looks the way that it does. It's very well used, and I intend to keep using it as long as I can. So,
well, I know you've got some big plans for it this year, as you do every year. So we're going to actually get out again. So I'm pumped about that.
Yeah.
And I'm sure this thing will be right along there with us.
It absolutely will be. I mean, there's a couple things too. Like, you look at it. It has I've got a sling on it. Like 870s they don't come with the sling swivels, but you can drill into your stock and actually like put your own stud there. That's what I did. We were actually just talking about that with Graham before we jumped on. He has an older shotgun that doesn't have the stud to accept a swivel, and he's like, yeah, how hard was it? And I mean, I did it in at that time was my apartment, and just drilled a hole into it and figured it out. So I mean, it's there's definitely a lot that you can do to make your 870 a real, legitimate turkey contender. When I first got this thing, like the first couple of years hunting with it, when I was a kid, I missed a bunch of birds. And at the time I kind of attributed it to the gun. I'm like, I've got a more, budget friendly shotgun. Well, I kind of did some looking into it. Once I got older, I ran the same choke and shotgun setup from like the time I was 12 until probably the time I was in high school. I started working at Gander Mountain.
You just got to shut it in the door of an Astrovan, and then she'll spot on after that.
Exactly. But once I like I said, in high school, senior year of high school, I started working at Gander Mountain, and learning much more about firearms and specifically shotguns and choke tubes and how important the choke is. And I remember the choke. I don't even know what choke I had. And all I know is that my dad bought it for $9.99. So and I still have that choke. So we could bring it in and look at it.
We should look at it.
Curious.
We should shoot it.
Yeah. But so anyways, I shot it then when I bought this new choke, which is Carlson's. It's the one specifically designed for federal heavyweight. Okay. I shoot Longbeard XR out of it. Mm-hmm. I always had great luck with that. I mean, at 50, 60 yards, you're putting, 20 to 30 BBs scattered throughout the head and neck. So I feel totally confident with this thing. But anyways, long-winded way of saying that swapping out that choke tube actually made a ton of difference. Mm-hmm. And to anybody that might be listening to this thinking, yeah, my 870 just hasn't really been quite there. I've got this whatever shotgun that I also use that seems to perform better. I would definitely look into, messing around with some other chokes and playing with it, because this thing, I mean, I feel totally confident in this gun at those distances. And
for sure. No, it makes a huge difference. I'm going to be doing a little playing around with some different chokes with my M2 this year, and I'm going to predict that I see some dramatic results with
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, playing around with a variety of different loads and chokes is probably, I mean, it's not easy anymore as it was probably 3 years ago before ammo became a little bit more challenging to find. But if you do have ammo, I mean, even pheasant loads, actually, that's what I use to, like, every year when I pop off this cantilever mount and I put it back on, the entire unit, dot included, slides right off, and I can put it right back on. So I know there's not a whole lot of variance in point of impact, but I always do want to check it, and I always check it with a pheasant load. And actually, I would feel totally confident, if I was in a pinch, shooting a number 5 pheasant load at a bird out to 40 yards, no problem.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to get, maybe the range that you might with, a dedicated modern turkey load. But yeah. a lot of birds have been killed with them things just fine. So, and what you bring up is actually a really good point, not that we're on to like how to, do your red dot on your turkey gun. But using a pheasant load or even, just a standard trap load.
That's where I start.
When you're zeroing.
Definitely.
That way you're not burning those expensive shells, and you can at least get close to where you do just your finish work with the loads that you plan on using.
Yeah, I mean, we're kind of talking about it, so we might as well just jump into it quick. But like when I first mounted the dot on this thing, I started with number 7.5s at like 10 yards because I wanted to be super close to at least make those those mass adjustments.
Right.
Started there, and then I went to 20, 30, 40 with pheasant loads and was fine. And then I did a confirmation at 20, a confirmation at 40, and a confirmation at 60 with my actual turkey load. So at the end of the day, you're only 3 turkey loads invested in that process. Mm-hmm. And now because you went through that, you're heading to the field with total peace of mind, total confidence, and you're just going to be that much more ready when a shot does finally present. So.
Yeah. Yeah, and then particularly when your heart's, beating on your chest and you can't control your breathing.
Absolutely.
No, that's awesome, man. Yeah, I love this thing. Every time you bring this thing out, I mean, obviously you can tell you're just like, oh yeah, this thing has seen a few things. So I like it.
It's a favorite for sure.
Well, I appreciate you bringing it in, chatting about it. I'm even more jacked about getting out in the turkey woods this year. And so what? I asked the audience out there, do you have a turkey gun that's got a lot of sentimental value and a lot of memories attached to it, so much so that you actually won't use the new shotgun that you bought?
Yeah. Turkey hunters are a sentimental group, myself included, and I'm sure there's a lot of folks listening that have that gun, whatever that gun is. So we want to know. Let us know. Drop it in the comments. Share a picture with us on social. We'd love to see it. So
I'm like the reverse. I've got a gun that I've got so much attachment to and love so much that I actually don't use it because I've kind of retired it for only very special occasions.
Yeah.
So anyway, what's your process look like, everybody? How are you managing your sentimental shotguns? Let us know. And until next time, happy hunting and shooting. We'll catch you on the next one.